I'm very excited for this. This is like some type of strange spiritual completion for me that we're going to be staying at the hotel on Jekyll Island.
Which is wild.
In the hotel where the Federal Reserve was incepted, the plan was put into motion as detailed in the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. And then I'm actually going to be giving a talk in the very room where the meeting was had to conceive of the Federal Reserve about the evils of central banking in the past 100 plus years under the paradigm of the Federal Reserve. And, you know, what we're trying to do at the farm is like a counter move to all of this. And so that is just, I don't know. It's so fascinating to see.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Because actually, I'm going to be really honest. That was my ignorance, man. Because here's the deal. Jeff says, Jekyll Island. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah. I go, hey, I start doing a little bit of research. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of get the connect the dots here. Wow. Right? That is so steeped in what formed what we are doing.
It's where the country went off course. And what are we talking about? It's like trying
the
to
No Name Club, 1896 was it or something?
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah,
and then 20 years later, they published the meeting even happened. And who was that designed this shit?
Yeah, exactly.
Really? In secrecy? Why we didn't say, oh, and all your head bankers throughout different components were the ones that controlled it?
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. For everybody else?
And all the detractors were headed to the meeting on the Titanic. I don't know if you've been down that rabbit hole yet.
No.
All the detractors to the Federal Reserve Plan were on the Titanic.
You're kidding.
No. There's a whole conspiracy theory around that one too. So
you might want to hold the story because
it's already out there on the internet. I don't think I'm the one breaking it here.
Really?
Yeah. So
mind blowing.
So that is just maybe a little foreshadowing about the things we'll talk about. But
really?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, because it was a European banking system. They were trying to, because of supply cost, right, to fill their purchase orders. Basically, you had to manufacture. They didn't necessarily have the money to bridge the gap between the product and what cost of production for something being sold. Am I getting that right?
I mean,
because they were going to Europe for the money.
What I would say, very broad strokes, is that central banking is much older than the United States. Yeah. You know, it's the Bank of Antwerp, Bank of England, and we were basically importing that model. And obviously there were deep ties between England and the US, obviously, given our history. And the decision makers kind of had a foot in both worlds. But the detractors, you know, the founding fathers were very anti-central banking. That's why we designed the Constitution the way we designed it. That's why we had the first two attempts at central banks. First one was rejected. Second one had a 25-year charter. And then it was ended at the end of that 25-year charter. The Federal Reserve was the third attempt to implement a central bank. And it's antithetical to the founding principles of the U.S. as a constitutional republic. So this was like, I don't think it's an understatement to say that it is where the country went off track. It's where we stopped being what we were founded to be, this sort of decentralized, low to no central government governance experiment. When you install the centralized money printer, well, surprise, surprise, the central government starts to grow and grow and grow, and individual states start to have less and less power by comparison. And, here we are, 111 years later. And what do we have? We have, woke, crazy, DNC, crazy culture degeneration, overgrowth of central government, widening of the gap between rich and poor. Like, our country has been destroyed, degraded. I mean, it's on the path to destruction, let's say, over the past 100 plus years. I would argue largely because of the central bank, which is what the founding fathers were adamantly resisting. They saw a lot of you could say that the U.S. or the American Revolution in many ways was a rebellion against the Bank of England. They didn't want to be under the tyranny of the money monopoly anymore. So, we always hear about the tea tax and the Boston Tea Party, but a lot of it had to do with escaping the Bank of England.
Yeah, well, how can a foreign government become a foreign government, control something that far away, and collect so much and just siphon off the top of what was being developed, right?
Exactly.
That whole thing was just a farce, and they said, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, and that's the operative word, siphoning. right? You're
big old
counterfeiting currency. You're just siphoning out. You're not adding anything productive to the world. You're just sucking purchasing power out of everyone's money, and it just fucks everything up.
It's a weird thing going on right now. I've been busting my ass my whole life, right, to get to where I'm at, and then let's say you get there, whatever the heck that means.
Yeah.
Because I don't put myself above or below anybody. I don't believe in doing that. I tell you, you've heard it. I'm the dumbest guy in the room. I'll dumber a whole bunch of you because I don't like the guy who knows everything.
Yeah.
That guy's a sick mind.
Yeah.
Seriously, run. If I'm in a negotiation or something with some kind of deal, and that dude knows everything, can never be wrong.
Yeah.
That dude's sick. That means everybody around him is less.
That's totalitarian.
See, now, if I say I'm the dumbest guy in the group, I have so much to learn. Now I'm going to die at the height of my ignorance because I'm going to have so many questions by the end that I didn't have before.
Yeah.
And somebody else said that once before. It was my brother. I heard him say that. And then I've just coined this thing. And it's like, well, then I can learn.
Yeah.
Just learn. There's no ego in it.
Yeah.
Like it, don't like it, I don't care. But I've done it and there's some actual meaning to it. There's some value to it. I'm here.
Yeah.
Right. And there's other people out there doing what you're talking about, going back to the farm, understanding that I can't wait to the speech, by the way, because it's like, okay, who would be a better fit? I mean, you're like the Bitcoin guy talking about, what this is, what is money, right?
Yeah.
And we're talking about blades and the value.
Yeah. Yeah. And
we're in a crossroads big time.
Yeah. I hope to blend these things together, talking about, as we started this conversation off, this is, if not one of the oldest forms of money in history, right? The wealth blade, maybe the oldest form of entrepreneurship as well. So we're starting with that kind of origin point in mind, based on activities we're all going to be doing together to build community, and then fast forwarding to where we are today and how far we've come off tracks with this, fictitious monopoly money we all use, these green pieces of paper and digital bank accounts that are just, inflated ad infinitum. And let's find the middle ground. It's like, this clearly doesn't work. We don't necessarily want to go back to the Stone Age. We want to embrace all the principles that we learned about there, but we like modern technology and things. So like, where's the middle ground, right? And I think Bitcoin, the ethos surrounding it, gets us closer to that place.
I think big decisions are being made by a handful of people that affect everybody. On such a big scale. I think it's crazy we have lost the vote. What I mean by that is like, look, we're sending war's a nasty thing, folks. Mm-hmm. I know it's an evil necessity at times. But when you start taking all the tax income and nobody gets a say on nothing, and you're printing.
That's the thing. Yeah, you're not.
Holy cow! When did we not get a say? When did the people not get a say?
When the central bank started in 1913.
And you can print money, you say. Yeah. So printing money, was that to keep everybody happy? Well, I don't get it. How do you?
No, it's to steal from people without asking questions.
I don't know. I just don't understand it. But yeah, I don't get it. It's like, how do you print money? What's it backed by at that point? Do you make each dollar less valuable when you do that?
Yeah,
or
right.
Just don't say nothing and just print money and send it over in an aircraft?
Oh, that's right.
I don't get which one it is.
That's right.
I couldn't run my business that way.
Yeah.
Ever. Right?
It's a confidence game.
But if you don't run it properly, you're gonna be extinct.
That's
right. You got to
to
change with the times, or you're just like the dinosaurs, brother. Because at the end of the day, if you don't manage it well,
that's right.
You're out.
Because you're accountable to
Because you don't have a
P&L.
printing press. You have to be accountable.
Right. But if you do have a printing press, you're not accountable to your P&L. You're not accountable to customers. You don't care about humans.
Basically. It's actually funny. Elon Musk says, "Why would I give it to them? I don't trust. They're not any good at it." I heard that.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything on his game, but I'll tell you what, I love innovation design and I like the imagination. I like things come together. Yeah. His engines that vector and putting them through the Mach speeds in a more efficient setup. And I mean, this stuff's awesome. I love innovation, design, and creativity. And he does it well with such conviction, man. It's like, yes, somebody buck the system because it makes sense to him, because it works, because he's busting his ass to do something. He's going to make some pretty high level thinkers really pissed off. Because he's going to treat them like, I want this.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't have that yet because we don't have the technology. Well, there's 6 people behind you. If you can't figure it out, you're out. Get that guy.
Yeah.
He just thinks this way.
Yeah.
Now, I wouldn't want to be in that world, but the dude pushes the unknown.
Yeah.
And he makes it happen, and he does it better than others. And right now we're seeing it. We got people floating around up in space, ain't going to get home till next year. They're supposed to be up there for a week and a half.
Yeah.
We got a problem.
Yeah. We're seeing, I mean, definitely going through the transition of an age, right? It's like my general hypothesis is as different as the agricultural age is from the industrial age will be different from the digital age. And we are just going through that transition period. So people like Musk are clearly leading that charge in some respect.
Every generation has somebody pushing something.
Yeah. And therein lies this inherent tension, let's say, with the state or government, which is the antiquated analog institution that stands to lose in this whole transition. So
here's my fear. It's not me. It ain't about me, man. I'm already at the end of the stick, so to speak. Man, I got more years, but I don't know. My children and their children.
Yeah.
And it sickens me to know that they're going to go into this debt. How do you do this? How do I do that? How do I tell them that struggle it wasn't your fault? That's powerful, man. To me, I feel that. It's not your fault. You didn't do that. My generation and the generation before you did that. And you don't have a damn choice, man.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, click here to find more just like it, and here to find our most recent episode. Also, make sure to like this video to help shine light on the corruption of money, and be sure to subscribe to this channel to stay connected.